And I guess that's the amazing thing. So when he offered you guys the record deal, who has to go back and start studying? Okay, what does record a contract involve in? What did any of you then decide? Okay, we need to know what the business side of music and what that entails, or is it just sign here?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we had to immediately hire lawyers and actually find management at that point, because you want to have a team of people around you who are looking out for your best interest. Um, and that's the age-old story in the music business, is that you find these green artists who don't know anything, and then they sign a bad deal or whatever, and then they blame the record company.
Yeah.
And it's like, record company's not there to tell you what a good deal is or isn't. It's up to you to find a team of people who can explain it to you, who can um, get you into the business correctly and keep you there in a way that it's a good experience for you and you can actually have a career in it.
Wow. Were you fortunate to get good people around you at those?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We've always been fortunate enough to, and I think that's the other thing about having strength in numbers, within the group with six people, and six people who are not only creative, but smart. I think it's very important to surround yourself with people who are smart enough and creative enough to lift the entire organization higher.
Yeah. And it's strange because everyone I've spoken to who comes from an R&B background, they got signed to say maybe a production deal with somebody who knew all the stuff and sort of just got them green. Um, but it's very rare that they got approached by a label directly and then had the opportunity to go around and get their support. It's normally some production deal signs them and takes them to a label, and so they've not had that opportunity. So it does seem fortunate. And I do wonder, because you weren't R&B, so more jazz, and you got signed by um, sort of I would assume the head of Warner Brothers in Nashville's more country. Was he more looking at country acts?
Yes.
Um, we don't seem to hear the same type of stories from those who are signed to pop or country acts, and I do wonder if that experience also might have been different if you compared to if you'd been signed to an MCA or an Uptown or so. Do you think that made a difference by who came to see you and what who they used to dealing with?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think for us, because we were signed in Nashville to the Nashville division of Warner Brothers, which was the country music division,
Yeah.
it was a very different signing and a very different experience for us because, and these words came out of his mouth. He said, I love the music. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but let's figure it out together. So we weren't signed to a production company that had all the answers or that wanted to take us in a direction that they thought would be um, more appealing or
Yeah.
commercially viable or whatever. This guy just wanted to get the music out there. And because they didn't know what to do with it, they allowed us to do
Wow.
exactly what it is they fell in love with in the first place. And it found an audience. Now, again, if we've been signed to another label or to a production company, whatever, who knows what would have happened? I'm sure a producer would have said, hey, I think if you change these things or you don't do this or more of that or whatever, we can get you to a different place. And that would not have been authentically who our group was.
Yeah. But also they would have been able to talk about taking your publishing sign here to do and all those small nuances that most new artists aren't more aware of as
Well,
well.
again, the interesting thing was we were signed long ago enough that not only did we have autonomy in the studio, but we all had our own publishing deals. And, we had a lot of really great things that were thrust at us that we didn't even at the time know existed, you know?
Wow.
So we had a lot of things that enabled us to financially from the very beginning be viable and not have to struggle and not have to wonder what was going to happen. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to an amazing working relationship with Warner Brothers Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really refreshing to hear your side of the story, because it's quite different from everyone else who was signed to in New York or LA, and signed by people who knew everything, but you only find out by a third album, like, oh, where's this gone and what's that, and by that time it's too late. But when I've had interviews with people who are white and sing pop or rock, they don't seem to have those same stories because they seem to be. And it's not the labels as a such that are doing this. It's just the people who are approaching them. Then what's their motives? They're more like, you guys have a talent, and if we nurture your talent, it'll be successful for all of us, as opposed to, I need to get as much as I can from you, until, as long as you don't know. It's almost like a relationship. If you were signed to a professional sports team, they want to make sure that you get the best, because the better you are, the more you can perform. And it didn't seem like that with our R&B acts. They just almost didn't have those types of good experiences. Your first album did over platinum. Did that take yourself and Warner Brothers by surprise, how successful your debut album was?
Yeah, it took everyone by surprise. I remember one of the quotes from the gentleman who signed us, Jim Ed Norman, was, if we sell 25, 30,000 copies, it'll be a success.
Whoa.
Because for him, it was kind of a pet project.
Okay.
He loved the music. And again, remember, this was the country music division, and they were having a lot of success at the time. So he had a little bit more autonomy to sign artists that he really believed in. So I'm sure, if we were to ask him, he probably took a little flack in signing this group that had nothing to do with country, and it was basically an a cappella gospel jazz group. So, to keep it a little bit under the radar with a smaller budget and smaller expectations would have been the better thing for him to do, which is what he did. So it took us all by surprise, and it enabled that division of Warner Brothers to grow leaps and bounds, because then he was able to sign all kinds of other artists and create a whole new division within the Nashville Warner Brothers system. So it was good for everyone.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the Halftime Chat community. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, why don't you consider being a member? That's a way of supporting the channel, but also getting a lot of videos ahead of time, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and some exclusive content that doesn't get shared. But anyway, thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of Halftime Chat. I begin to